subscribe. Darling Radio. Watch and subscribe.
All right, New Frontier, what's happening, man?
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm good. Now, what your name is Zach? What's your name?
My name is Zach,
Zach. Zach, where are you from, by the way?
Northern California.
Northern California. Okay, Sacramento, the Bay.
Between Sacramento and San Francisco, so right
Oh,
between there.
yeah, beautiful area. I was just up there in San Francisco.
Wine country, sir.
Love it. Absolutely loved it up there. So yeah, a lot of white supremacists up there, though.
Really?
Yeah, Paradise, California. How far is that from that area? You
That's
remember
probably
that.
about 30 minutes from me.
Right. That was a white supremacist enclave. That was a place that was explicitly white supremacist. Didn't allow any black people.
Can I ask you a question, sir?
Hold on, let me finish this. But Paradise, California was known for being an anti-black white supremacist enclave. And the ancestors burned that town to the ground during the fires, by the way. The town was completely burned down by the ancestors. But go ahead.
Well, I actually, as New Frontier, right, we have dealt with many white nationalists and white supremacists, as you accuse us of being. White
Suspected.
supremacists would not work with other people of color,
The hell
people of
they
color in
wouldn't.
general.
The hell they wouldn't. Yes, they would. The hell they
Well,
wouldn't.
the problem
They
that we
would.
run into, sir, can I just speak one moment?
No, because if you say something, we're going to have to stop and then analyze what you said. Okay.
Okay, all right.
That's what we do here. You're just not going to go and just say a bunch of talking points. We're going to slowly analyze everything you say. You just said white nationalists would not work with people of color. The hell they won't. They work with people of color who can be mascots and who have the same anti-black ideology as they do, just like the Proud Boys. They have their quote unquote fake symbolic leader, Enrique, as their leader, and he's a dark-skinned Cuban who basically still classified as white. So he's a person of color. So yeah, they work with people of color all the time. But go ahead.
Well, the only thing that I was going to say, Mr. Nasheed, is that many different times with Andre, actually, in our group chats, with him being visibly black on Telegram, many different people on the right have become weird to us. They don't want to work with us because simply we have blacks and Hispanics within our ranks. Proud Boys has quite the same image on the right, actually, as being, quote unquote, this is on the right, this is a right term, quote unquote, a race cuck. Somebody who doesn't view America as a white country at large. So actually, even working with Andre, it's been very, very difficult to work and network with other groups on the right. So actually, I very, very much so resent the fact that we are considered or even suspected as white supremacists or even kind of like alt-right, because we have been held back in our mission on the right, networking with other right groups simply because of the race of our leadership. So the fact that on the other side, there's people saying that the fact that Andre's even working with us makes him a Tether or an Uncle Tom or Fed, that is simply disrespectful to the amount of work that Andre's put in areas and cities like North Carolina before he left, and then Detroit, and in the various areas that he's in. I find it very, very disrespectful to the mission at large.
Okay, well, Zach, a very common tactic of white supremacist groups is to get some type of tether front person so they can hide behind and say, hey, how can we be a white supremacist group? Hey, we got this melanated person here in our group. That's an old tactic and nobody's buying it. You get a person who's not of our lineage and they come in and pretend people who are your flunkies. You get to hide your racism behind them while you practice all types of anti-black shenanigans, and you're not fooling anybody. Almost all of these white supremacist groups have these black or melanated mascot members. I won't call him black because he's not of our lineage. This is a melanated tether. He's from East Africa somewhere. He's been lying through his teeth. He's not of our lineage whatsoever. We can look at him and tell he's not one of us. And that's common with a lot of these suspected white supremacist organizations now. And we're hip to that game.
What
We're
do
hip to
you
it.
view?
Also, a lot of you guys have informants in law enforcement in your ranks. Baked Alaska, people were pointing out that this guy might have been an informant. Speaking of Baked Alaska, a lot of these guys are clicked in with police. That's why y'all can go out here and commit hate crimes and nothing really happens to you because the police they're out there with you guys. So yeah, we're on to it, sir. We see what's going on, Zach.
Well, sir, disrespectfully, I mean, completely respectfully, sorry about that, I misspoke. With all due respect, I would like to say that by the time I'm an old man, I want to see raised birth rates, raised affluence, and raised prominence for the black community in this country. But at the same time, I would like to see a better community in my own area with my own people who I'm affected to of various races doing better. So when I look at people like Andre who have grown up in areas like Detroit, and because Andre is not a tether, he's not some East African immigrant we brought in to have conservative opinions on a foreign basis. He's actually been here for hundreds of years with his family.
Don't believe
And
it.
so,
I don't believe that. I don't believe that. That's not true.
well,
I
please,
don't
sir,
believe.
reach out to the DMs. We provide proof
I don't.
on a basis that is
No, you
personal.
don't. You don't have any proof that this guy's from our lineage. Zero. He's not. I can look at him and tell, sir. He's not from our lineage. This guy comes from some kind of immigrant background. We can look at him and tell, sir. So you don't have any proof that he's from this lineage. You don't have it. You simply don't have it.
Well,
You're
I have to tell you, we wouldn't be working with people who are immigrants within the last 100 years because we believe part of the
not
group of New
true.
Frontier believes in actually
Not
having
true because
Native
no,
Americans that are invested in the
not,
nation by lineage.
not true, sir. Because most of you white supremacist suspects come from immigrant backgrounds. All of you come from immigrant backgrounds, sir. So that wouldn't be true whatsoever.
It's interesting because our main political enemy has actually been the AF crowd and Nick Fuentes at large. And then you keep
I
looping
know.
us in like this is
Yeah.
our group.
Yeah, because all of you guys have the same ideology. Sometimes you bicker among each other. Sometimes some of y'all don't like Ben Shapiro. Some of you don't like Nick Fuentes. Some of you don't like Richard Spencer. But you all get on code against black people. That's what you all agree with.
Well,
Yeah, a lot of you suspected
what
white
is being
supremacist
against
groups.
black people? Is being
Well, so a lot of you suspected white supremacists. Y'all get into infighting because many of you are idiots, and that's what it is. But you all get on code against black people. That's the thing. Now, Zach, let me ask you this. Um, what do you think you need to do about those birth rates within suspected white supremacist society? Because as you know, part of the ideology is that you don't want to go extinct. You don't want to go extinct, and your birth rates are in decline. What do you think you need to do to get those birth rates in order?
Well, first off, this is a society that doesn't just touch white America. This society is broad, so the problems that affect it affect all people. So the problems with the birth rates have also been affecting black people. Actually, black people
Okay, see,
probably the
no, 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 no,
most.
no, 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 no. I didn't ask you to see. That's the thing. Y'all start deflecting, sir. You
Okay, so
guys
you're
start
asking about birth rates in the white community or the black community?
the white community. Our birth rates are fine. Our birth
I would
rates.
argue against that, but okay.
No, 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 no. I mean, our birth rates are fine. Our birth rates are fine. Our birth rates are not. God damn. Okay, our birth rates are not in decline. Can y'all hear me? I hate when I'm doing my show early and then I'm just getting a bunch of phone. Okay. Man, I hate when I'm doing my live and the phone is just ringing nonstop. Hold on one second. Hold on. Oh, goodness. This is why I do my broadcast at night. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. Now go ahead. Now, what were you saying?
Well, the main driver of birth rates, as well as the main driver in prosperity for any racial group, is the the ability for women to stay home. And in the white community, most of our women, in at least the millennial generation and younger, have been working uh, through their 30s and beyond. So their times being fertile have been spent most of the times in a workplace. So our birth rates are being driven lower by the fact that so many of us are in the middle class that we don't qualify for benefits for children, and we
So what are you
also
going to do about the
have
birth? your birth rates, those white supremacist birth rates are in decline. That
Mm,
means they're below replenishing. Black
right.
birth rates are replenishing. There are more black people being born than black people are dying. So we're still good. Your birth rates are in reverse. The more you dying, then
Yes, but you do know that the most dangerous place for a black male is in a black womb, right?
all right.
That's where
Okay.
the most
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But we're fine.
black death happens is in a
Right.
black
But
womb.
what about but we're talking about your birth rates are in decline. So the most dangerous place for white supremacist birth rates are on the planet Earth. So what are you doing to replenish those birth rates? What are you going to do with that?
Well, this is actually probably our main complaint with the entire right as it is that most of these people are online complaining about issues instead of actually working every day and building households in order to have the children that they say need to exist in order to continue their own race. So, we actually, in terms of New Frontier, we try to recruit professionals and people who are actually productive in society so that way they can actually live up to their ideas. But this isn't just an issue
So is
that
it
is a white issue. This is also a Hispanic and a black issue within the American and the Western context.
not a black issue because our birth rates are not in decline like yours, sir?
Yes, but your households are in disarray and they've been that way since the 60s.
Oh, because of
And
white supremacy. But we're fine. Yeah, that's because of that's imposed by white supremacy. That's your community who does that. Any problem that we have in black society, it's imposed by the white supremacists.
now, this is one of the issues that Andre and I tried to address is that we feel that there isn't enough accountability taken by these own racial communities, not just black, it's also Hispanic, it's also white even. White people don't take accountability for the own issues, like I was just saying, that cause their own problems. Because, in my personal opinion, nobody imposes anything. See, the same position can be
No,
taken
no,
by a white
no, no, no. You can't say that. You can't say that. What issue that's in black society that was not imposed by the white supremacists? Go ahead and name it. Go ahead.
I would say, sorry, my mic delayed. The main issue that I would say that wasn't imposed by white society is the percentage and prevalence of fathers being in a household and in a relationship with the baby mothers of the child.
Yeah,
Also,
hold
with
on. Stop right there. Let's address that. That's a lie. First of all, black men raise their children and they're more active in their children's lives than many other groups. So black men are active in the lives of their children. There's a white supremacist myth that black fathers have just disappeared. No, black fathers are raising their children. And also, in spite of your white supremacist brethren going into black households, removing black men. This is what I'm saying. Your white supremacist brethren in the 1960s went into black households and said, hey, look, black women, we're not going to give you guys jobs. And if we give you any type of state sponsored benefits, you cannot have a man in this house. And they went in making sure that a black man was not in the house. All right. But go ahead.
well, that was under the Great Society with LBJ most prevalently, where they expanded the welfare benefits but cut out the black men.
Right.
In my opinion, right. If I were to like be in a position like an LBJ, I want to have a position where a lot of black men are in the household, but perhaps even less money is coming in per capita because that means that there's actually more support for the children, more.
Right. Okay. That's kind of explaining. The point is that it was imposed. So you're proving my point. You just said LGJ and all that. So yeah, you're proving my point that it was imposed. So this is what I'm going back to say. A lot of the detriment that has happened in black society, it was imposed by your white supremacist brethren. And we still fare well in spite of these imposed flaws. That's my point, sir. Right? Zach?
Um, yeah. Well, I was just saying that. Okay, listen. Between like 1960 and 1980, before like the actual crack epidemic, that was absolutely imposed on a social level. But what I'm saying is that with those problems and those challenges that came, the one thing that the black community is still in charge of and is still capable of changing is their response to the situation, and b their image to the rest of the world. So ever since like groups
Oh,
like NWA came out.
oh. Mm. See, that's why I got to mute you because we're going to have to cover every lie. You say our image to the world. Yeah, we We don't really have control of that like we need to, and we're getting control of that now. The image of us to the world, that's by the white media. That's your, again, your white supremacist brethren. They kind of pick and choose the image of black people that they want to show. And it's always a negative image. We on the grassroots, we're changing that. So again, the image of black people been promoted by those in the dominance.
Okay, so was Common and Most Def selling as many records as 50 Cent and Too Short? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it wasn't the same way. You know, this consciousness. It was always
did Common and Most Def get the same budget as 50 Cent and all of those guys? Huh?
actually 50 Cent came up on his own, so I wasn't even trying to use him as an example in that way. But I was just saying that one thing sells, another thing doesn't, right? Like there's like that Jay-Z line is like, I used to rap like Common, but ever since it didn't make common sense, I haven't rapped like common sense because it doesn't make money. So the difference is that yes, the white community, mostly Jewish, but the white people are selling these behaviors. But these
Right.
behaviors are being bought because there's a supply and a demand.
Yeah,
So if there wasn't a demand, then there wouldn't be a
and it's so the question is because 80% of the consumers of rap records and hip hop songs are white. So why does your community like to see such negative images of black people? Hmm?
well, that one I can't speak on a personal basis because I was always a fan of people like Hieroglyphics, Far Side, Common, Mos Def, more conscious rappers, people that I could actually relate to, and I could look at like say like look at these phonetics, look at this vocabulary. This is something that I look up to. That's actually something that I'm saying. This is the reason why I work with people like Andre Williams is because we're trying to empower the black community to feel empowered to actually push out art, not feel like they have to live up to white narratives like you're saying. So when you have like people on the white side saying that that Andre can't work with us or we're not a right wing group, or you have people on the black side saying that Andre can't work with us or he's a black person, you keep pushing all of these reasonable people towards the middle, and then you're going to be completely alienated. So, in my personal opinion, I want to see a black community that can make more far sides, can make more hieroglyphics, that actually has the ability to pursue art and doesn't have to pursue racial profiling. Look at World Star Hip Hop. It's a minstrel show.
That's by Tether. Tether has that site. Well, a Tether started that site, a non-FBA Haitian guy. So yeah. So the lineage matters. Now, also, if you want to see Black society do so well, why are you supporting the killing of Jordan Neely?
Jordan Neely, that was the gentleman who passed away by Daniel Penny holding a choke too long.
Yeah, he was killed. That's called being killed. Yeah, your white supremacist brethren killed this innocent black man on the train, and you're co-signing it. Is that the kind of help in Black society you want to give us?
In my personal opinion, that killing, Jordan Neely should still be alive, but Jordan Neely should not have raised that issue on the bus that led to his death. It's cause and
He
effect.
out of talk to himself. He was talking to himself. He didn't do anything to anybody. So you're saying talking
Now
to you
listen, I don't know the validity of the reports, but I heard that he had threatened Daniel Penny's life.
if you don't stop lying, sir.
Now I said I don't know the validity of the reports, but that's what I'd heard on my own side in my echo chamber.
You
Is that he did threaten his life personally and verbally.
no, he didn't, sir.
Well,
That's
listen,
not.
I don't know the full case. This happened about a year and a half ago. I don't support his death, but I do say that there has to be action taken against the social disorder that's happening on our public transit. I ride public transit. It's hell.
Killer, sir. You're supporting the guy who killed him, and you sitting up here acting like he just happened to die on that day. Or what are you saying, sir? Is that your Black support?
Well, my black support is having a black community that is affluent enough to have a case like Jordan Neely be so minoritish. It's like having these cases where people like fall out of the white community and then they threaten people on a train. They're seen as openly ridiculous by our community. We won't be out there defending him if he happens to die doing whatever he does on the train, being a
Just
drug addict. So it's like we have to get black community to a point, in my opinion. This is my opinion, right? And this is the opinion that I view New Frontier is sharing.
hey, come on, man. Now you're babbling and splaining. You're babbling and splaining. I want family, y'all listen to this. This is a teaching lesson, family. You watch these guys who can name off all of these conscious rappers. See, a lot of y'all divestors, y'all get fooled by this. You see one of these white boys come around. Who I like Miss Def. I like Common. Yeah, he'll know about all the Wu-Tang records and all of that, but still be a suspected white supremacist. This is a learning lesson. Do not be fooled by these guys. Black family, I hope you're learning here.
You know, oddly enough, my first rap concert was Eric B. and Rakim with Wu-Tang live. So, you know, you can state that I don't know the Wu-Tang records, but I know them by the back of my fucking hand.
No, I'm saying you probably know every song. I'm saying that I agree, you're probably at all of the hip hop concerts and you're sounding like all the other white supremacists too. This is what I tell Black people. Do not be fooled by these guys who know some rap lyrics and all of this stuff. That don't mean anything. Oh, let's invite him to the barbecue. Oh, see, this is why you divestors, you get one of
White
these guys.
supremacists, I'm actually trying hope for.
No, hold on. Now, y'all women who want to divest, y'all, ooh, he know about the roots and he know about whoop de whoop. And then you date this guy and end up missing. Then your family's texting me like, hey, Tariq, can you help me find my cousin? Now, Zach, let me ask you this, Zach. Let me ask you this, Zach. And we got chaotic truth. Chaotic truth. I'm not going to even have you on. Chaotic truth. You're shameful. I saw them. You were up there in a room full of white supremacists, and they're using the N-word, calling you the N-word, and you sitting up there giggling like a musty tether. You're so shameful, brother. But Zach, listen, Zach. Let me ask you this, Zach. Do you feel that George Floyd died of a drug overdose?
No, I don't feel that he died of a drug overdose. I feel that that the knee should have been on his back, not his neck. That was a faulty police maneuver by Derek Chauvin, and that's why he's currently sitting in prison. It's because he killed a man with a faulty police maneuver that was a homicidal maneuver. If it was on his back, and then he put him in cuffs and he put him in the back of a police car, and George Floyd was still with us today, breathing and alive, I would say Derek Chauvin probably didn't do anything wrong, but the fact that he held it on his neck for way too long, that was a crime. That was a murder. So yes, I wouldn't say that he was innocent.
Right. So what's the difference between that and Daniel Penny killing Jordan Neely?
Well, first off is that Daniel Penny wasn't a police officer in uniform who should have known better. Second off, Daniel Penny first did not have the responsibilities of a police officer. That's the first thing. Second off, he subdued somebody, and in my opinion, this has been a debate before, that it should have been a non-lethal force, but he used a force that can turn into lethal, and it did turn into lethal. And that is the issue here, is that he killed somebody that shouldn't have died.
Right.
So even as a white person, I would say that Daniel Penny should still be breathing with us. George Floyd should still be breathing with us. Their death is a tragedy, but I don't think that both of them died due to white supremacy. That's my difference.
But they were killed.
They were killed, and that these actions have to be judged individually on the basis of the individual in the moment. But it is not because of white supremacy.
Daniel Penny. You're defending Daniel Penny, though. I'm looking at your post. You're very much aligned with defending Daniel Penny. So if you know, and you just admitted that Daniel Penny basically murdered Jordan Neely, why are you defending him?
It was incidental manslaughter. It wasn't an actual, like, where I went on this train and there's this black person that's loud and therefore I'm going to kill them because I hate black people. It was much more nuanced than that. And I feel that we have a case. The reason why we're going to go there is because we feel that this is a case that can be taken out of context, that can be racialized, and then he didn't kill him because Jordan Neely was black. He killed him because the social contract was broken, and he didn't want to kill him. He wanted to subdue him. So if those two understandings are communicated and understood in the New York trial, then I view that trial as a success. In my personal opinion, this is not the group's opinion. Do not quote the group on this. I view that it's incidental manslaughter. Groups opinions vary on the right. I view it as incidental manslaughter. A man should not have died that day because of the social contract being broken in terms of volume and what conduct. So, in my opinion, that it's incidental manslaughter.
But yeah, I see. You're like, this is your tweet. Next month in New York, we're going to gather for a peaceful protest outside the courthouse to show our support for Daniel Penny. So yeah, you're very much in support of Daniel Penny. Okay, but all right, that's where the white supremacy comes in. All right.
It's white supremacist to support somebody who was trying to defend the social contract.
Yeah, who murdered? If you're If you're supporting somebody who murdered a black person and you're trying to find some weird justification for it to support that person, that's where the white supremacy comes in.
Interesting,
Yeah.
because white supremacists, usually white nationalists, don't even view this country as being shared with people of color, let alone situations like this. They don't even view them as being on that train. They shouldn't be on that train, according to most white nationalists. We don't go that far.
Can't practice white nationalism unless you have some non-white people to practice it over. That's why it's very important to set up a white supremacist movement, because you got to be supreme over people. That's why the white supremacists don't really like being in Europe the way they need to be in Europe. If you wanted to be such a white nationalist, you would have went back to Europe. You need to have people who are non-white around in order to practice white supremacy against them, sir. So all of that stuff you're talking about, that you want some kind of all-white enclave, that's not true. I mean, you got middle America that's full of white people, and you still have to practice white supremacy. There still have to be some type of black boogeyman, non-existent black boogeyman threat there in order for you to have a culture, because your only culture is white supremacy. Now let me ask you this. Now, do you have children? Is that
I'm only 21 years old. I'm a student in college.
you're a young guy? Okay, you're a young guy. You're a young guy. You got sisters?
I do.
Oh, okay. Um, and Zach. That's Eastern European,
Italian.
Italian. Okay. Interesting. When's your people got here in the 1920s?
About the 1910s, but yeah, right around there.
Right. That's interesting. That you would have a lot of these white nationalist views when your people weren't even considered white until like 1924.
I don't have
That's
white nationalist views, though. I have American views. It's American exceptionalism and patriotism.
right. But you know, they used to call you people guineas.
They
You
used
know
to
why they
call us wops, and we used to rob them in their own neighborhoods. We weren't innocent.
right. Now let me uh I'm reading some more of your tweets. You were like, Daniel Penny did not choke a homeless man. He stopped the schizophrenic man who had a long criminal history and was deeply disturbed from being violent to other people.
I would like to
Dan,
toss the mic to Andre on that one.
hold on. Daniel Penny is an American hero. Come on, man. See, this is what. Come on, man. You're praising this guy. You're praising Daniel Penny. You said he didn't choke him to death. So which one is it, man? First you said he did choke him to death, but we're looking at your tweets. You're saying nope. Daniel Penny is a national hero who didn't choke a man to death. He was a schizophrenic criminal. So you're justifying killing an innocent black man, sir. That's not white supremacy.
I don't view him as well. Listen, first off, is not innocence if you have a provocation, and in my opinion, Daniel Penny overreacted. But what Daniel Penny reacted, that was not the issue. The problem is that when he had a man subdued already and he had his life in his hands, he held on for too long. That was the issue.
Subdued for what? What was his? Why would he have to subdue somebody who was not a threat to him?
But that's where me and you disagree. Jordan Neely was a threat to just about everybody on
Prove,
that train
prove it. How?
by threatening them and being loud, by breaking up the entire standard of the train, by
No,
presenting a
threat.
threat, and then that threat was
No.
engaged. And in my opinion, he engaged it with overkill. It was overkill.
Please. Wait, hold on, Brooke. Hold on. Being loud is not a threat. Threat how? He didn't say he was going to hurt somebody on that train.
According to eyewitness testimony, he did say that to at least one person on the train. So I that is where my position is that if he threatened somebody on that train and he was an open threat on that train, and
He
then
didn't.
Daniel Penny subdued
That's
an open threat on that train, the only problem that Daniel Penny did is that he accidentally killed the man while doing it.
you're doing what's called "I'm white and I say so." You're just lying, sir. You're just lying. You're just doing "I'm white and I say so." There was no threat. He was on the train basically talking to himself, sir. There was not a threat. So you're against the Constitution. He has freedom of speech, sir. He wasn't threatening anybody. That's freedom of speech. You can get on the train and talk to yourself. You don't kill nobody because they're talking to themselves. He wasn't talking to anybody. He's a special needs guy. He was talking to himself.
He was getting loud and he was approaching people in a way where, like, listen, one flash move and it turned.
So you're against the Constitution. You're anti-Constitution. You got free speech. You can say stuff. You can say stuff to
Yes, you
yourself.
can say things, but you cannot break the social contract with volume and impose yourself on an entire train and make yourself seem as a
And yes, you can. White supremacists do it all the time. They break social contracts all the time. They do it all the time. In fact, down in Florida this week, we're talking about this is the topic of the show. It was a black man walking in a neighborhood, in his own neighborhood, and a bunch of suspected white supremacists jumped out, threatening him. One even pulled a gun out on him. And the police said, hey, there was no crime here. So, yeah, you can be loud and you can even pull a gun out and break a social contract. And according to certain laws, you have a right to do so. So Jordan Neely didn't do any of the stuff that these white supremacists did, yet he was killed. So it was
yes,
him being
but if that
on,
black man were to respond to the threat that was given to him by those white people, and he was to
and he didn't,
respond in an equal and according manner, then he would
but
not
he,
be in the wrong. Even if he was shot, or even if people were like, hey, he's going to charge onto my property, he would not be in the wrong there. So there is a social contract that decides intention. And this social contract that's understood by the majority of Americans, it decides the intention of somebody when they break into the bounds of.
no, this is I'm white and I say so babble. This is you talking in circles, and this is literally I'm white and I say so. There's no such thing as breaking a social contract. You have a constitution that protects free speech. You can say what you want to say. You're not supposed to go and kill somebody because you don't like the fact that they're getting loud. There's no law that allows that. You're talking about breaking a social contract. You're not supposed to kill people because they're talking loud, sir. And then you're not allowed to lie on people and say that they were threatening somebody because you wanted to justify killing them.
There's a big difference between like let's say me and you right now were engaged in a debate, and then
Oh, let me get Brian. Cause to be honest, I'm getting the whole I say so babble is getting kind of. Let me get Brooke in. Brooke, go ahead, beloved.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hello, how are you?
Hey, dear.
Good. Okay. All right. First of all, this is New York. Okay. I'm a lifelong New Yorker. And there's no social contract. What are you talking about? There are homeless people that get on the train begging for food, talking to themselves all the time. This is something that we as New Yorkers are accustomed to.
Right.
This is not something that is abnormal, that doesn't happen to us every single the stories that I could tell you about my morning trips to work would be crazy for you, but it's a regular Tuesday for me. Okay. So that's number one. So when he's sitting here going back and forth about the social construct, he's not at least he's not a New York City native.
Right.
And Daniel Penny was from Long Island. So he been in the city enough to know what our social contracts are. That's number one. Number two, Jordan Neely was an aged out foster child
Yeah. Yeah.
that was hungry on the train, who had witnessed his own mother's murder. And people were treating him like he was garbage. And that bothers me to this day. The fact that you could sit here and just write him off. This is where our tax dollars should have been going. Jordan Neely is the one who needed an EBT card with thousands of dollars on it. He's the one who needed an apartment for 2 years so he could get on his
no, I
feet
agree.
because he
We
had
fight for
no
that. We
one to
fight for
help
that.
him.
I agree. This is exactly what we
There you
fight
go.
for. We fight for those things that
Oh
are
no,
going to immigrants, going to Americans. But
Okay. All right, Zach. Thank you. I don't thank you, Zach. I don't want to hear no more Zach explaining. Going back to Andre. Andre, this is why, sir, I do not believe you're from our lineage. The fact that you're around this vile white supremacist and you're in an organization with them, just the ancestral energy. No, the ancestral energy wouldn't really vibe with that. That would be disrespectful to foundational Black American ancestors. To even be in an organization with that, I don't believe for 1 second that you are a foundational Black American and your lineage goes back in this country based on who you associate yourself with, based on how you look, based on how you act. based on your vibe and your disposition, sir. I think that you are an East African tether. And with this Zach guy, he's another lying, splaining white supremacist. He's trying to lie, and then my brother Mikhail is hitting me up with all of his tweets. This dude is an anti-black suspected white supremacist. And you being their mascot, again, shows that you are possibly associated with some kind of law enforcement as well, sir. We got to watch these folks. We got to watch these tethers. We got to watch these cosplayers. Let me get cousin Jerry in the building. Everybody say what's up to cousin Jerry in the building.
Hey, Flex.
What's up, Jerry?
Not much, man. How everything with you?
Everything is good, man. What's going
Not
on?
much. Three quick things. I put up some in the Jumbotron. I want every single mother to teach their sons and their daughters the Stand Your Ground statute in their state.
Yes.
Because if that young man knew how to handle himself, he had every right to walk in his neighborhood to call his people and let them know he was okay.
Yes.
Number two, the first book that our pops bought me was called The Definitive Work of Black People. The guy told me, he said, what people in the army would do, it had everything you needed to know about black culture. And if somebody needed a quick study of it, it would give them basic outlines of things and they would know the most popular people, and then they could start their research there.
Yeah.
Number three, in that video they posted an old boy, I saw at least 3 toters and a couple of spotters. So whatever he was on, it was either law enforcement or some private group. So that's my 3 things.
Thank you so much, Jerry. Yeah, the dude, yeah, in the video, this dude, Andre, man, the way he's rolling and the people he's rolling with, yeah, they roll law enforcement, man. We saw this during the protests. These weird dudes show up talking crazy, and they're lined up in a certain way where one person is being an agitator, then you got somebody in the cut on the side. Yeah, this dude, everything about this dude screams some form of law enforcement. We got to watch these guys at these protests, man. So these are lessons that we're giving here. Watch these guys. Sir, who's that? Great Black Shark. What's up, brother?
Salute to you, black man. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, man. What's going on?
Man, let me address that foolishness that white supremacist, New Frontier, whatever his name, and his little tether buddy came up here saying. First and foremost, I'm going to entertain that foolishness that he was babbling about, talking about enforcing a social construct. So I'm from Georgia, as most of you know. Now, if a black person or a group of black people decided to enforce that social construct the same way, he knows that he and most of white America wouldn't be trying to hear anything that we were saying regarding that. Now, entertaining the same line of thought there with the so-called social contract, let me let all of you white supremacists under the sound of my voice know something right now. The social construct for foundational black American freedmen is we have a right to defend ourselves. We will enforce that right. And I'm going to tell you right now, they know that for a fact, if the situation down there in Sarasota, Florida had gone the way I was talking about, they'd be calling for a public lynching right now. Family, make sure that you training your children out here that just because they're in the most integrated society that we have, you have to teach them that white supremacy still exists. It's not a thing of the past. And if you doubt what I'm saying, look at the age of that New Frontier guy. If he was being truthful, he's in his 20s. They passed that down like a family heirloom. So with that said, my brother, I land my plane.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. That's real talk, brother. Real talk. Shout out to everybody in here. We're in here real deep. Shout out to everybody in here. We are in here deep. We are in here heavy. Shout out to the family.
Road feel that natural flow. Road work, stay fresh wherever you go. Road work, I like the way it feels. Road work, the magic is so real. Road work.